For question one, I thought it was interesting how in notable scenes, they did almost a snapshot of what was going on in the form of a picture. So at George and Esther's wedding, they had a snapshot that said unidentified Negro couple. And when Esther goes back to sewing at the end of the play, there's one that says unidentified Negro seamstress. And to me, this showed how black struggles throughout history were almost painted over because the things they were doing were monumental, but at the same time, they disregarded the struggles they were actually still going through. And for question two, the first value that I found in the play was patriarchy. The main goal for many people, such as Esther, was to get married, and also Mrs. Van Buren at the same time was staying with her husband even though she didn't love him, because at the time that was a norm and men were basically in control of making these decisions. And the second value I found was connection. There's a lot of different connections throughout the story, and you can tell this is important, such as Mrs. Van Buren having a connection with Esther and actually loving her because of it, and Esther getting married to George because of the connection she could possibly have with him. And then for question three, what I wanted to look into more, I looked into the symbolism of corsets in the play, especially Mrs. Van Buren's and Maeve's, who were more outrageous than like the typical corset. And what I found that they symbolize is intimate relationships between men and women, and in this case, they were more represented more bold and passionate love, and often love that is not allowed. And for question four, I thought the play reinvents the understanding of the African American experience because it takes the struggles of African Americans at the time and almost humanizes them, and you see how unfair what they're going through is. The fact that Esther has to go back to her old life after everything she did to try to get married and be a part of society shows that African Americans were often still not able to break out of the prejudices that they face. And for the question of do stereotypes for African Americans and other groups still exist today, I said yes for sure. It's definitely still an issue. And what perpetuates stereotypes is the history, like in the case of African Americans, the history of the struggle they've always faced in America. That doesn't just go away. It's something we need to adapt and work towards equality over time. And what helps to overcome them, I think, is art, politics, and relationships that fight for equality and bring light to the struggle they face, such as this play, which humanizes the struggle that African Americans faced at the time. And also social media presences do the same, such as the Black Lives Matter movement. And the last question, the two questions I have were, what was the biggest issue of diversity in the play, gender roles or racial struggles? And how is a person limited in their freedom to love who they want in this play?